Hello everyone, my name is Christine Black and welcome to my channel. Let me introduce you to my little friend. This is Boo. Say hi, Boo.
I am an abomination.
Okay, Boo, you don't mean that.
The boy is coming.
Okay. So Boo's gonna say goodbye for now. Say bye, Boo.
This shell you have given me may not fit, but my power is fueled by the darkness of humanity, and I will stop at nothing to bring this world to its knees.
Okay. Hello, my name is Christine Black and welcome to my channel. A special thank you to all my new subscribers, all 4 of you. I appreciate you and thank you so much for your support. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and make sure you click the bell for notifications. Today we're diving into the latest installment of the Ghostbusters franchise. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Directed by Jason Reitman, son of Ivan Reitman. The story continues the same story from Afterlife. Like Afterlife, the story is pretty good. Phoebe Spangler's character, of course, the granddaughter of Egon Spangler, I think was handled much better. She's a bit more fleshed out in this one than she is in the first one, and much more interesting overall. The feeling of wanting to be an adult and make adult decisions and being almost there, but not really understanding why you can't, is very relatable. It's very cute. Finn Wolfhard's character, who I can't remember his name, he didn't really get much screen time. He kind of has a B plot off in the back of the movie that is cute in itself, but it doesn't really tie into anything that's happening. It's just a little B plot that kind of like is like a Deus Ex Machina at the end of the movie. It's easy to, like, if they took it out, it would still be the same movie. He wasn't in this movie as much, and I do think that that makes sense considering that he's the main character in Stranger Things, so he's probably been shooting that a lot for the last season, which comes out next year, and I can't wait to see that. That show is a better bet for his career overall, so I could see why he's not in this as much as Phoebe Spangler. Like, this is her baby, really, so it makes more sense for her to be more prominent. And as far as the older cast is concerned, they're all here. Venkman, Dan Aykroyd, who is Ray Stantz, and oh god, this is not good. I can't remember his name. Wilbur? I don't know. He's the rich daddy, rich dark chocolate daddy. He is in this movie as well. They all have pretty significant roles that actually make sense for what is happening, and I really liked that it was actually really well done. You know, obviously that was teased a bit at the end of Afterlife that they were in this universe and they were gonna be a part of the next movies, and I really like how they use them. They utilize everybody to the best of their abilities very well. And specifically for me, Dan Aykroyd was great. He plays, of course, Ray, and he is like a metaphysical expert guy. He owns a little shop in Manhattan, and it's honestly fairly similar to him as a person in real life. Aykroyd has the most screen time out of all of the old cast, and I think that makes the most sense. This was kind of his baby back in the 80s for 84. He does have top writing credit on 84 Ghostbusters and 89 Ghostbusters, so it does make sense that he would probably have the biggest role. He loves ghosts, he loves all of this stuff, so him being the most prominent of the old cast, it does make a lot of sense. I think my favorite of the new characters is Kumail Nanjiani, and I didn't even know he was going to be in this movie. I did not see him any of the promotional material that I saw. Maybe I just didn't notice him. I think maybe he was on one of the posters, but I completely missed it. But nonetheless, I thought he was really good and I liked him. He's very funny. So the effects for me were great. They were just as good as the first movie. I really liked that they used a lot of practical effects, but they also used as reference the original movies and that kind of grimy feel that they had, like, to make it feel more grounded in the reality. And even though it's very cartoony, there's still more of a realism with this one than, like, I would say the 2016 version. It still feels really good, especially like the kind of like clear-ish, smoky looking ghosts. I really like those. Slimer is in this movie and he looks great. They used a lot of practical effects for him. They probably kind of had to because they know millennials and everybody is going to pick at that and sit on it and be like, he doesn't look real enough. This isn't right. I don't like this. I think he looks great. He would have looked fine in full CGI, but I do think that they had the actual puppet on set. And I think even if they fully replaced the whole thing with CGI, where there are moments where I do see his puppet in the movie, even if they had replaced it, having the practical effect on set as reference for lighting and everything is extremely important. I feel like it always makes it look better to have that than to not have it for movies. Having something to reference like that, I feel like ends up always making the movie look way better. And there's a lot more practical effects in this movie than I thought there were on a first watch. I watched Adam Savage. He went to the company that did the effects for the movie, and there was this effect. It's one of the first ones that you see where these people that have been turned into ice explode. And I immediately thought, oh, that has to be CGI. There's no way. But no, it's a fully practical effect, and it's amazing. I didn't even know you could do something like that. I love it. When on a second watch, it was much more realistic looking. And of course it was, because it was real. And I think they did a great job on the effects. The effects are awesome. Okay, so for what I didn't like. For me, in the beginning of the movie feels huge. There's all these big sweeping shots of buildings, and it almost kind of feels like Spider-Man with these large sweeping shots of the swinging through the city. And the movie generally feels huge. It feels great, especially the scene at Coney Island, which I thought was gorgeously done. None of our main characters are at Coney Island. I thought they were actually going to be at Coney Island, which I feel like would have been cool. But it was just an establishing shot to show the scale and the breadth of what was happening, which feels massive. But at the end of the movie, it starts to feel really boxed in. Everything takes place in the firehouse, the classic firehouse from the first movie, which I do know for a fact that the original outside of the firehouse is what's being used, I believe is what's being used for the outer shots. The inner shots are actually a set that is created later, which is why you probably could tell that they did make it look a little bit bigger than it actually would be in real life. But the problem is that it still feels tiny. Even though in the beginning of the movie, the shots of the firehouse feel so big and so breathy. But I do think that could be having to do with the lighting. In the beginning, it's daytime, it's bright, the whole thing is filled with white tiles, so that's gonna bounce a lot of light, make it feel very airy. At the end, it is very dark. It just feels claustrophobic. And it also, the look of the movie to me feels very different. It feels like it looks like a Disney Channel movie. This was a problem for me in the first movie as well, in Afterlife. At the end of the movie, specifically when they're in the cave right before they get to the house, production value felt like it dipped for a minute. And I felt that same feeling in this movie. I don't know what it is. For a bit, for not too long, but for long enough for me, it felt very cheap, and I didn't like that. That's just how I feel. But honestly, other than that brief moment at the end of the movie, everything else in the movie is great. But the main thing I don't like about the movie is actually not the movie. It has nothing to do with the movie. So I remember I was walking by the theater a while back, and I saw the poster for this movie, and it was this poster. And I remember thinking to myself, that's weird. Why isn't she in the center? Isn't she the main character? And I was like, oh, well, maybe she's not the main character this time, so okay, whatever. But then I watched the movie, and she's very much so the main character. She has the most screen time out of anybody in the movie. But for some reason, they put Paul Rudd in the middle, even though his storyline is basically like, oh my god, she doesn't accept me and I have to learn to be a better stepdad, and like, standard Disney Channel bullshit that you see in a lot of movies. Nothing that has to do with the ghost. He's not the main character of the movie. And it's really weird to me that she was not in the center. And not only was she not in the center, she wasn't even next to Paul Rudd. She was down below him. Finn Wolfhard, whose story is D-plot at best, is next to him. And then Bill Murray is on the other side. It's three people who have nothing to do with the main plot of the movie. And the fact that they're all men, it's just such a bad look. The fact that they did that from the perspective of the company and what they're trying to accomplish, especially considering all those many years ago when they decided to do their super feminist push for the 2016 Ghostbusters movie and act like it was such a big deal and oh my god, but yet for this movie they're going to relegate their main character, a female, down to the edge of the DVD box. That's very interesting. That's very strange, in my opinion. I think it's very hypocritical of them to do that. But I know they did something wrong, because when you go to Walmart and you try to buy the DVD, that has an updated one where she is right next to Paul Rudd on the DVD box. And the thing is, I know that Paul Rudd and Bill Murray and Finn Wolfhard altogether are the higher draws in general. But the fact that they are not the main character of the movie should tell you something, that maybe you shouldn't put them front and center and not put the female main character off to the side like she doesn't matter. And two, it's a trick. You're tricking people into thinking, oh, these people are gonna have be the main characters. I mean, honestly, Finn Wolfhard being the main character this time around compared to the last time would make sense. He is her brother. He could have his moment in this movie and be the main character, but he's not. So he shouldn't be the center of the poster. It doesn't make any sense. But you know what? I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna calm down and I'm gonna let it go. Okay, so on to the box office. The first movie in this series, Afterlife, grossed $204 million on a $75 million budget. Not bad. And this movie, Frozen Empire, cost $100 million, so $25 million more. Basically, what I'm calculating is that it needed to make $220 million in order to hit the same type of goal, at least. Maybe 230 or 240. But it unfortunately only made $202 million, which is $2 million less than the first movie. I am a little worried personally about them being able to make another one. I hope that they do, just so they can finish it out and we don't get left in the lurch like we did with the first, well, not the first one, with the second one back in 1989. And they were gonna make another one, but they never did because it didn't make quite so much money. It feels a bit like history is repeating itself a little bit with this one, and I hope that that's not true. I really do hope that they finish it out. One thing I think is that if they had just released this movie a little bit later, they would have made more money. This movie just feels like a Halloween movie to me. It doesn't feel like a it feels like a summer blockbuster, but it feels like it would have been way better at Halloween. I think if they would have put it on the back burner, waited until at least now, because it's like the end of July, if they released it the 1st of August and then planned on having it in theaters up until, or even like the 1st of September, and then have it in theaters until like mid-November, it would do way better because you would have people going to see it for Halloween. Having it just as a regular summer blockbuster, having to compete with Furiosa and everything else that was coming out during the springtime, it just couldn't stand up to that. I think as a Halloween movie, it would have done way better. Okay, so in conclusion, I really liked it. It's a solid film with great effects. The story is charming and cute. It has its flaws, but I can't wait to see another one. Sooner than later, hopefully. Those are my thoughts on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and if you have any movies you'd like me to review, leave it in the comments and let me know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell for notifications. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh, I almost forgot. Let's see if Boo wants to say goodbye.
In the silence of the movie, I found peace in Sheridan with your peace. And now my wrath shall echo through your bones.
Oh, that's not very nice, Boo.
There's no greater pleasure than shattering the fragile rules of your world. Tonight, I shall steal the souls of the innocent.
Boo, I think that's illegal.
I may be dead, but my thirst for revenge is stronger than ever. The flames of hell are my playground, and I will watch with delight as they consume everything in their path.
Oh, God. Okay, I'm so sorry. Goodbye. Bye, everybody.